that was Louis Armstrong's solo on Basin Street Blues from 1933. That's a very special recording to me because that was one of the first real jazz solos I tried to learn as a kid. I first got that album, I think it's called like RCA Victor Greatest Hits or something like that. It's got a lot of his hits from over the years, but that's one of the ones. That's a fantastic year, 1933. Louis was playing probably more trumpet than ever. He was spectacular at that time in his career, leading an orchestra. Before he had done the hot fives and hot sevens, but by the early 30s, he's leading this big, fabulous orchestra, and the arrangements are featuring him, and he's, usually comes at the end on this high note. The arrangements are, highlighting his ability to just play these ridiculous, spectacular solos. So I love that one for many reasons, but and note in the second part of this Patreon post, there's going to be another part talking about his second part of the solo. So that's the first part. The second part is just absolutely ridiculous. One of the hardest solos I've ever tried to learn or play or even, definitely write down. One of the hardest things I've ever written down. And you're going to be able to access that at the second level of Patreon. So I'll get into that later. But the first part is nice because for an intermediate player, and I was 13 when I tried to learn this. For an intermediate player, it stays pretty low, like it's. I think that D is the highest note. Now the second part of the solo, he's hitting high E's. We'll get to that later, but yeah, that first part is pretty. If you're first or second year trumpet player, it's not impossible. If you can tongue and make a good sound, it's not a hard solo to learn. So with that, I'm gonna play it one more time. So this first part, he sings a scat solo in the middle of this arrangement. I'll post the link in the Patreon and in the YouTube. But he scats in the middle, and then he takes another solo. So, but let's play his solo one more time. This is about actually trombone solo start. These arrangements are really interesting. I'm going to talk about that too. So that's the first part. Now let's go on to the second part.